Hello and welcome to Renaissance Minis. I'm going to be working on the cheese shop, and I finished making the display case for the cheeses. And so we're going to make some cheeses today out of foam board. You'll probably want to wait until the yellow part dries, but I'm going to go in here just to show you how I do it. I'm just going to blot this on there. And that's going to make it look like the cheese. And then I'm going to seal it with the Mod Podge satin. All done, and this is what it looks like. Now, this is a cutting board that I got off of Temu, I believe. So I'm just put it on the cutting board. And I can add it to the display. Now I'm going to make a round cheese, the big round wheel of cheese. Again, I'm going to use my foam board. And for the size I'm working with, I'm going to use this cap so that I can draw a circle onto the foam board. Push that into the foam board, and then I'm going to cut the circle out. Okay, there's a wax part that covers over this cheese. So I'm taking real wax from the Baby Bell cheese, and I'm going to use it to cover this piece so it looks realistic. So this is the actual cover to the Baby Bell cheese, and I'm going to put this inside here and use the warmth of my fingers to cover this. This is wax from real cheese, and it's going to make a very nice cheese wheel. I'm going to cut the excess off. And now we have a beautiful piece of cheese that we can now put into the display. And we can also cut this with our X-Acto knife. Removing a section of the cheese. Now it looks like a piece of cheese. And then we can take this section and we can take the yellow color we made. We can paint the inside of this. And then it looks like a piece of cheese got taken out. Then we can place it into our display. Now let's do some Swiss. Doing a square piece of Swiss. I'm going to take my sharp tool, punch a bunch of holes in it. Take some of this yellow paint that we made. Paint it. And put some Mod Podge on it. I added it to the top and I made another little cheese there, which is just a piece of foam board with the antique parchment and the brown on the back. Add that to our display. I added a few more pieces of foam board and painted them in the antique parchment and topped them off with some Mod Podge and glued them on to another one. And then I took my little mini pork chops that I got from my Zuru mini brands, and we're going to put those in there as well. Now let's move on to the miniature salami. For the miniature salami, we're going to be using the Craft Smart Burnt Umber and the Apple Barrel Antique Parchment. I cut a piece of foam board. And I'm squishing it together. Then I'm taking a piece of toilet paper. I'm leaving a slight allowance on either side. twisting the ends. Now I'm going to paint it with the antique parchment. Try not to put too much paint on, just a little bit. I'm going to come into the burnt umber, and I'm going to take a lot of it off, and I'm just going to graze this with a little bit of it very gently. You have to be gentle because of the paper, the toilet paper. Then that is my little salami. I'm going to press it together with my fingers. Now I've got some thread. Using a square 1/8 inch dowel, I'm going to hang the salami on the dowel so I can hang it on the wall. But first, I'm going to paint this with Craft Smart Burnt Umber, my little mini salamis. Foam board covered in chipboard painted with Craft Smart Burnt Umber, and the mold painted in Craft Smart Burnt Umber. Now I think I'd like to make a little ham for this space. I'm also going to make a miniature Hobart machine. But let's finish our ham first. Just using foam board once again, and I'm just cutting it in a somewhat oval shape. All right, so here's my little hammy, and it looks okay, but it's not that great. So I probably would be better if I made this out of clay, but it's pretty good for foam board, so we're going to go with it. All right, now it's time to make the little Hobart meat slicer. This is actually not a Hobart, it's a Waring, but that's okay. Gives me a good idea of how to do this. I'm going to be using this silver paper here from Michael's Crafts and some foam board. Okay, now that I have my little Hobart made, put some cheese in there. pretty good. Now I'm going to build a little stand for it to go right there in front of the window. Okay, so I made a little silver-like table for the Hobart, which is going to go in this corner. I put a little piece of cheese on it, like we're cutting some cheese there. And I hung a little teeny picture, kind of the Swiss Alps. Oops. Looks a little bit like the Swiss Alps. Thought that was good. And now I'm going to make a little scale to weigh the slices, and I'm going to put the scale up here. I think I'm going to make the base of the scale, yes, that's right, you guessed it, out of foam board, and then maybe cover it with some metal. We'll see how that goes. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with the base of the scale. Okay, so I made the little scale. So I decorated the walls a little bit using some stickers I got from Temu and sticking them onto backer board and gluing them onto the wall. And then those, I got some pictures here. Where did I get those at? I think I got those at the thrift store, those miniature pictures, which I mounted on backer board and glued them to the wall. I added my little chair here that I got at the last doll show haul, and made a little miniature plate of cheese, yummy, and then another miniature plate of cheese with the cheese that I showed you how to make. Book there. I've added a little bench over here in this corner. Here's what the scale looks like completed. I made something that looks like cold cuts and some cheese. So that's our scale. And then I put another wheel of cheese up here and some baguettes. And then we have our salami on the wall here. And then I put another little picture over here above the cash register. Oop, our Hobart fell. Fix that. Put our little Hobart meat slicer over here. I put a few pieces of wax paper there. And then I took some orange peas. These are just dried peas. And I put them in little packages and put them in this little basket up here, just to give it a little interest. Time to make the sign, and I'm going to go ahead and use this backer board, which is from a picture wall art that I got from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to go ahead and cover it with some black paper and make a sign for the cheese shop. Time to remove some of the glue strings with some 70% rubbing alcohol. Well, that's the end of this project. Thank you so much for coming by and checking it out. I like how everything turned out. I am glad I painted the tables with the off-white. I think they look a little bit better. I did make a new computer screen too for the cash register. I think the other one was a little bit too thick, so I just used a little bit of that backer board and painted it black. And of course I glued everything down so that it wouldn't continue to move around on me, which is always makes it easier. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching as always. Click subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. Click like if you like this content. And I hope you come back and see me sometime to see what my next project is. Bye.